An apology is a recognition that we did not keep our promises, we didn't keep our commitments. And sometimes we can apologize and it helps repair the damage done. For example, an apology made with honor can go a long way. Quote, "I lost my temper in the car yesterday and I know that that upset you. That's not the man I want to be. How can I make this right to you or right for you?" Obviously, you can't change the fact that you lost your temper in the car, but you can acknowledge it and you can have a discussion about it and you can, do something more than just promise to do better next time. You can say, what does it take to make it right? And then negotiate about how to make that correction. Okay? However, apologizing is not really that effective unless we're working from a place of integrity. If we're groveling for approval from some other person, if we're selling ourselves out to try and get out of being in trouble, that really doesn't help us become authentic, empowered men. It helps us to be weak. When we have a minor breach of our own standards, we need to own up to it and correct it and deal with it in a way that's constructive. And so there's a process for that we'll talk about some other time. However, an apology is rarely enough to repair the damage if it's a serious or major breakdown. A major commitment that's not kept requires an amends, and I'm going to talk about amends next. Amends are a way to repair the damage that we have caused by a broken commitment in our relationship. Sometimes that means going ahead and completing a task even though we're not getting any credit for it, even though we're not going to get paid for it. We're trying to restore the fact that we honor the relationship and we have integrity in our commitments. An amends sometimes is a living amends where we don't really do anything to correct the past, but we make a very concerted effort to change our behavior in the future, and we don't really need to look at it in any other way except this is a living amends. If we mandate that we have broken a commitment and there's a consequence, then we pay the consequence. So it starts out with an apology. I committed to do X. I didn't keep my commitment. My consequence was Y, and here is the Y. I'm going to do it by such and such a date, or here's how much money I'm going to give to this charity, or whatever. So making amends is a powerful tool for men when we want to restore integrity in our relationships. When I make a commitment, I tend to debrief afterwards with the people I made it to see if I can find the gold in it. This is especially true if I make a commitment and I don't keep it, because there's a reason that I didn't keep it. Maybe I overcommitted. Maybe I committed because I wanted someone to be impressed with me or to look up to me or whatever, and I wasn't sincere about it. Maybe I had some other sort of breakdown, but whatever it is, I want to explore that with somebody that I trust, someone who has insight to me, who knows my history, knows my patterns. I don't make excuses. I don't blame somebody else. I don't claim I'm the victim of unnatural circumstances. I own it and I dig into it as deeply as I can, because that is where the gold is. When we talk about mining gold and we talked about breaking commitments, they're the same thing. When we don't keep a commitment, we look at and uncover the reason why. This is what helps me break through my upper limits, my unconscious beliefs that sabotage me being the man I want to be. This is where I get through the trouble at the border phase of growing into the man I want to be, by breaking down the shortcomings or shortfalls that I have on small commitments. I can look at the big picture patterns much more readily and much more quickly. So when we become aware of our patterns, we can then take power over them and make a difference in the world and make a difference for other people, because we've learned and grown and transformed through our process of making and not keeping and then repairing commitments. Thank you. So this is a summary of the material that we've covered by video. We'll be able to answer your questions in person. We're going to do mining gold with you in real time later. So there's a lot that we didn't cover here. There's a lot more material to this, but I'm trying to keep this short. The summary is this: trust and trustworthiness are fundamentally built by making and keeping your commitments. There are always commitments. There are always consequences when you don't make your commitments successfully. And if you avoid making a commitment, that's also a consequence. There are consequences on how you honor your agreements, And that means whether you make an amends or whether you renegotiate, you can still do it with an honorable approach rather than blame and excuses and whatever. Honoring commitments helps reestablish or repair the quality of the relationship that you started out hoping that you were going to build. And whenever we don't keep a commitment, there is valuable information in the process of uncovering what happened when we didn't make the commitment. This is the opportunity to mine gold, which we will then, of course, demonstrate in real time because it's too subtle to try and explain on a video. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your time. Hope this has been helpful. Thank you.